So our specialization is in roofing and siding. Some of the brands that we use for roofing, for example, we've used all sorts, but one of my favorite shingles right now is IKO. They have great customer support. Their sales rep for our state is really putting in the effort to try and make a good impression, which really matters to me because in the end, if the company doesn't support their products, which in this case would be a problem for me and for the customer, then nobody's happy with that. Other brands that I've used in the past were good, but currently I'm just not as taken with the level of service that they're offering. With siding, we are using a lot of mastic siding, and I've always had a good experience with their product, but admittedly, I don't know a whole lot of support from their sales reps for the state, but the product is really good, really versatile, and it's a good price, which we pass on to our customers. So it was probably about 2 years ago. I had set my ladder up to the roof. I was getting on the roof. I was carrying up a bundle of shingles with me. I had actually been very careful about how I placed my ladder, but something totally went wrong with it. I'd never heard of this before. I had one of the adjustable telescoping ladders, and once you lock them in, they shouldn't be able to move from that position. So I had actually set it up so it was it was on concrete. It was right on their sidewalk. There was concrete everywhere that was ideal for me to get up where I wouldn't be damaging their gutters. And so I set the ladder up. I started climbing up. Right as I got to the point where you transition from being on the security of a ladder to stepping onto the roof, something happened, and what actually, if I understand right, happened, the ladder dropped a hole wrong. I've never ever seen that before or since. I know that it was shorter because when I tried to stand it up again, it didn't reach the roof anymore. So I was on the ladder, stepping off, holding 80 pounds worth of shingles on one shoulder, and as I stepped, it dropped and twisted. So I fell off the ladder because I hadn't actually made it to the roof yet. I grabbed a hold of it with my left arm as I was falling because I'm kind of like Spider-Man, but Spider-Man apparently doesn't like falling on concrete. So I spun, landed on my side, broke my elbow, broke my foot, all on the right side. Luckily I didn't hit my head or edge. So I hit the ground so hard, and by ground I mean concrete, that the neighbor across the street came running out of her house because she heard it. It didn't feel good, by the way. So I'm laying there on the ground. The poor homeowner was out there at that time, and she was getting into her car. She came out and she's all, "Can I help you? Can I get you up?" And I said, "Nope. I think I'm just gonna sit here for a while." Yeah. And so I sat there for a minute, contemplating, covered in shingles because the whole pack blew up on top of me. I was buried in shingles by this point. And so finally I got up and I started walking around. I didn't know my foot was broken. So I'm walking around and I started extending my arm, and I realized that it was crackling an awful lot, and I was like, that's probably not good. Then, of course, everything hurt, but I just fell onto the concrete. So I turn around and I go to pick up my ladder. I set my ladder back up, and I went to adjust the ladder because it, again, was too short. I had to extend it up another rung. And so you grab the pins and you have to rotate them. And I found that my right arm wouldn't turn. It was stuck like this. I turned the other hand, I was like, oh no. Yeah, I messed myself up pretty good. I knew that it hurt, but it wasn't so bad. That poor sweet lady, she offered to call an ambulance for me, and I was like, no. I would walk home before I'd ride in the ambulance. So I got in my truck, I drove home. Later on, I decided to go to the hospital. Sure enough, I'd broken my elbow and my foot, and I thought I might have broken my hip, but I just bruised it. I was like, I was afraid what people would say about me if I told them I broke my hip, to be honest. I'm not exactly young, but I'm probably not at the age where I'm breaking hips all the the time. So, but fortunately, it wasn't too bad. Really awesome scar later and some life lessons. I am even more careful about ladders now because it took me a couple of years to get over that fear of getting off of a ladder onto a roof. I usually grab hold like it owed me money and death grip that as I climbed onto the roof. Now I'm pretty comfortable with it again. Definitely not my favorite experience, but definitely one that stuck with me. So one of my favorite things to have happen, all of our siding installers wear tool bags, and they all have a pouch, a hook rather, that allows your hammer to hang straight down, making it so that it's a big long object. You can easily reach it. So they've got a ladder and a plank, and they're up in the air, let's say 4, maybe 5 feet in the air, not very high. And so they'll decide that the quickest way down is just to jump off that plank. So the first time I remember seeing that, the guy jumped off the plank, landed, and he couldn't touch the ground. So he dangled there approximately a foot above the ground, slowly panicking, his little legs kicking until, and I couldn't help him because I was laughing too hard. He slowly rotated until his feet were in the air, which fell out of that plank. I've seen it 2-3 times. It's definitely a personal favorite of mine. I love watching that happen. Most of the time, guys are pretty careful about what they're doing, but every now and then, you just kind of lose track of stuff like that.